Welcome, 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 welcome. Welcome to High Level the Podcast, where we explore what it truly, truly means to operate at the highest level in every area of life. Me personally, who I am, I'm your host, your gracious host, Beard Money Dad. And this is the first episode of the High Level Podcast, where we're laying a foundation for what this podcast is all about. So, for the most part today, what I want to do is I actually want to dive into, really what it means to live at a high level. This is something I've been going back and forth with for years, for a long time, with just my internal self, of what it means to operate at the highest levels of everything that I'm doing. And not gonna lie, I've been derailed many times in my life, but there's been certain instances that I've realized that have always kept me wanting to continuously be working towards achieving the highest levels, which was one of the reasons why I really wanted to create a podcast that not only acknowledged that there are levels to life, but that it's completely okay to want to reach them at any point and at any time if you feel as though you're not. And this is just really an empowerment podcast, a faithful podcast, a hopeful podcast, and a mindset podcast that is, I'm hoping, going to allow my viewers, my community that I build here, and as well as myself, to be able to truly be inspired to reach the highest levels of your life, right? So on the first episode, what I want to do is I want to dive actually into what it means to live life at a high level, right? How to recognize areas where you need to level up. I need to level up. We all need to level up in. And why the mindset is so crucial for success. And I'll get into that a lot deeper into the episode. So, hey, if you're ready to elevate with me to the highest levels, let's do it. And let's get into it. All right, so just kind of looking at certain areas of defining what a high level or high level living truly is. I mean, I think in order to really understand what a high level is, or how to operate at the highest levels, and that's throughout history of any man, any woman operating at the highest levels of their life, I feel as though in order to understand how to get there, we need to define what high level living is. To me, high level living isn't just about success in the traditional sense, right? So for me, and I took a lot of notes just so I could be prepared for for this episode, and I'm hoping that I get better as I go along here. Give me some grace, but success to me in the traditional sense, it's about a lot of fluff, to be honest. But to operate at a high level, it's not just about the traditional sense of success. To me, it's more about excellence. It's about intentionality. It's about growth in every aspect of life, not just your job, not just your relationship, not just your familial responsibilities, not just the local fantasy football league or the girls' night out club. You know what I'm saying? Like it's in every area of life, and it really means holding yourself accountable. To a standard that is going to, in fact, push you beyond what the mediocre or the average level is. So, to summarize that, to me, high level living goes beyond traditional success. High level living is defined by excellence, intentionality, and growth in every aspect of life. So if I'm thinking about some examples here, think about it like a high level athlete, right? A high level entrepreneur, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, the great leaders of this world, right? What separates them from the rest of the world? Like high level athletes, think like Michael Jordan, think LeBron, think Mike Phelps, think I'm losing athletes, but think the highest level athletes. Your Tom Brady's, your Lisa Leslie's. Like think those, right? What separates them? Is it talent? Is it just the talent? No, right? Like no. I used to be an athlete growing up when I was in high school and a little bit in college, right? And I played basketball. I ran track. I played tennis, but I put a lot of my time and effort. Even though I was physically gifted, I'm a pretty tall guy and I have a certain skill set. But natural talent doesn't doesn't separate you, right? It doesn't separate you. So what does? In my opinion, it's going to be three things: discipline, vision, and commitment. And I think back to personal times that I've had and playing sports, looking to get better at anything. I needed to have a vision in regards to where I wanted to go. I needed to understand, what first the vision is for me to get there. After I understood what the vision is, I needed to understand what type of disciplines I needed to enact in order to get to the vision. Once I understood what the disciplines that I needed to enact in order to get to the vision, I had to make a commitment with myself, with my mind, my body, and my soul, all in alignment, committed to the disciplines that are going to be needed in order to see the vision, right? So talent doesn't just separate us and allows us to get to a level that's the highest level or above average, right? Above norm. It's more than talent. It's going to be, in my opinion, and here on this high level podcast, it's going to take vision, discipline, and commitment in order to raise your level to the highest levels, just like a lot of these top athletes. Jordan did it, Brady did it, Lisa Leslie did it, Tiger Woods did it, Steph Curry does it, LeBron does it, Kobe did it, right? But here's the key: high level living isn't reserved for the select few. It's not. High level living isn't reserved for the select few. It's not. It's not. Anybody. And that's why I literally created this podcast, because anybody breathing, living on this earth, on this planet, has the ability and can operate at a high level in their own lane. You can operate at the highest level in your own lane. I mean, that's great news, right? That's great news. You can operate at the highest level in your own lane. In your own lane. What does it take? It's going to take awareness, and it's going to take some action. Matter of factly, awareness of what? Beard money. Awareness of what? Awareness of self. Awareness of what you want. Awareness of what is the highest level for you, right? And then it's going to take some very disciplined action steps in order to go ahead and achieve that. But it is achievable. It is achievable. All right, so let's I know that was some stuff, right? let's uh let's talk about the areas of actually I want to get into the areas of like high level living, right? And what I've uncovered in my research and living and always looking to live at the highest levels of my life, right? So in this area, in this section of the show, I really want to talk about just the areas of high level living, right? So if we break down and we look at the areas where we are able to elevate, and in my mind, we all want to be elevators, right? Where we have the ability to rise to the highest level and stay there and get off on the highest level, just like a penthouse if we want to. It's the elevator in our mind. I call it, very matter of factly, the elevator mindset. And this is a mindset I'm going to start to introduce to all of you throughout this podcast and throughout my time that I'm spending with you. The elevator mindset. We should all look to be a form of an elevator. And yes, I understand that elevators also are designed to go down. But think about it like this. When an elevator goes down, isn't it to pick people up to then bring them back up to the highest level that they're looking to get to? So if your mindset was set to be an elevator and you were able to go down to someone's lower level mindset and show them that there's a better way, and they can also get in on your elevator and you can raise them up to the highest level of their own lane, wouldn't that be something that would change the world? I think it would. I think it would. Now let's break down into different areas where we can elevate. What I was able to do was I wrote down five major areas that I feel that we all have the ability to be able to elevate into our highest levels. And honestly, I want feedback from you guys in regards to other areas that you feel we can add to this list. But these are my five for the first episode of the High Level Podcast with your host, Beard Money Dad. First one, it's my favorite one, mindset. What you think determines what you become. If you operate with a limited mindset, you will live a limited life. I almost want to say that again, but we're getting crushed for time. Number one, mindset. Number two, relationships, high level marriages, high-level friendships, high-level partnerships require intentional effort, communication, and a shared vision. We're going to dive a lot deeper into relationships, mindset in later episodes, but that's definitely one of the areas that we're going to be covering and talking about frequently on this show. Relationships and how high level they are and can be, and how they affect your mind, your body, and your soul. Number 3, spiritual and emotional well-being. A high level life isn't just about material success. I'm going to say that one again. A high level life isn't just about material success. It's about inner peace and alignment with these things. So if you have material success and you don't have inner peace, that's not high level. I can have inner peace without having material success. That still can be high level, right? Probably rather have both, right? Aligned correctly. Material success, internal inner peace, right? Right. Number 4, career and purpose. This is a big one for everybody. Everybody wants to talk about this, right? At a high level, you want to be doing the best at your career. And I really, 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 really hope that you eventually get to a point where your career is aligned with your purpose. That's the highest level. But for number 4, career and purpose, I just say, are you just working? Think about it like this. Are you just working? Are you just getting by at a job that you hate? Or are you operating in purpose? Do you love where you work? Do you love what you do? Do you see the return in what you do on society, on the hearts, in the minds, in the spirits of the people who you service every day when you go to work? You know if you are. If you're not, why are we wasting time? Like, we know how much time we have. I don't know how much time I have. I don't know if this might be the first and last episode of the High Level Podcast. But what I do know is that as long as I'm breathing, my goal is to be the best version of what I can do, who I can be, and how I can help and service those around me that I possibly can. For that, my reward is the highest levels of everything. I'll tell you this about number 4, career and purpose. High level people are very strategic about how they use their time and their gifts, their God given gifts. If you're not using your time and your God given gifts correctly, you are wasting. You are wasting. You're wasting away. Number 5. This one is very underlooked. Overwhelmingly so. Number 5 is health and wellness. right? I mean, it seems like a no-brainer, but I mean, it's vastly forgotten. You can't operate at a high level. You can't operate at no level. You can probably operate at a low level for a period of time, but eventually you can't operate at all. If you're running on empty, if you're running on empty, if you're not eating, if you're not feeding yourself, if you're not drinking enough water, which is what our body is mostly made out of, if you're consuming too much junk, and that's not just what you're eating, not just what you're drinking, it's what you're hearing, right? It's what you're seeing, it's what you're smelling, it's what you're touching, what you're actually being immersed in every day. You can't operate at a high level if you're running on empty. You can't. Each of these areas are definitely going to be explored in future episodes, but today I want you to reflect on where you're currently operating and where you need to elevate. Um, that will be my question for you guys. The next part of the show I actually want to get into is probably going to be, I'm going to be looking at barriers to high level living. I want to spend some time talking about what some of the barriers are to living at your highest levels and what I've done as far as for myself, the research that I've been able to amass through books and people who I've spoken with. But my question is, why do so many people settle for mid? Like, why do so many people settle for being average when they could be elite? That's my question. Like, there's certain areas of life where you know that you're really good at, and it's like, all right, like I know I'm really, really, really good at this. Like, I can do this all day with my eyes closed. And you'll still choose to be average at that in life. And I never understood that, you know. The things that I'm good at, I like to be really good at them and go for the gusto. But in my short time on this earth, and from those who I've talked to who have much more experience and many more years on this earth than I do, I've come to the conclusion that there are a lot of people who settle for mid or average when it could be elite. So, what are the barriers? Why? That's what I was asking. Like, why? Like, what are the barriers to why people choose to be average as opposed to being elite or being high level? Why choose to be no level, low level, as opposed to being high level or the highest level? Like, I'd rather be in a penthouse than be living in a basement, right? First one I'm thinking that there is. Here's the first one: fear of change. Fear of change. People resist leveling up to their highest levels because it requires discomfort. It requires it. In order to level up to the highest levels, you're going to have to be you're going to have to be uncomfortable. The word dis is in front of comfort. People love to be comfortable. People love the lazy boy. They love to relax. They love PTO. They want to take a day off. They want to take a week off, lunch breaks, whatever it is. They love it. I love it. But I also am very aware that in order for me to level up, it takes sacrifice, and sacrifice comes with discomfort. Number one, fear of change, barrier for not living a high level life and being and staying mediocre or even worse, below average. Whoa, whoa, hey, why? Why are we doing this? Number two, quite plainly, a lack of discipline. A lack of discipline. High level living and being at the highest levels of life anywhere is built on consistent effort. Consistent effort. And by the way, people, my fellow elevators, how much does effort cost, by the way? I, I never knew like how so many people put money as a reason why they can't just level up their mindset. Effort costs nothing. It's no money. No money required for that one. So we got fear of change. We've got uh lack of discipline for sure. The next one, toxic environment. Talk about it, right? A toxic environment. I was in one of these for a long time. A relationship, toxic, stagnated my entire growth, my mindset, the level that I even wanted to operate in life at was affected just by me being in a toxic environment for an extended period of time. God is so good, was able to get me out of that, but not before I had to go through much discomfort. Much. You can't elevate if you're surrounded by people who pull you down. And I like this one because when I was reading and I was writing on it, I saw that the environment wasn't so much the surroundings that you're in, but it's really more the people who are in the environment with you. For example, for example, I'm just going to go here. Okay. Doctor's office, right? You're in a doctor's office and there's no one in the doctor's office but you. You're not a doctor. And all of a sudden, you start seeing a lot of patients coming in wanting to be seen by the doctor. What do you do? You stress out and say, "Hey, go home. I can't. I'm not a doctor. I don't know where the doctor's at." Or do you get the people in the environment who can affect it at a high level? So I'm here. I don't know anything, but hold on, hold tight. Let me go in the back and see if there's a number to the doctor that's usually here, or maybe a different doctor that can actually help him and be here within another hour or maybe less. Would that be worth your wait? So that would be an example of a positive reinforced situation if you have good people coming into an environment. Without those people in that environment, just you there, things aren't going to get done. Same thing in a toxic relationship. Say you're living in a very, very ran down old rickety house. And say you're in that house by yourself and there's no complaining, you're okay with it. You have a roof over your head, you've got heat, you got cable, you got internet, and you know in your mind that, you're going to save up and eventually fix this house and get it to where you want to be. But you know in your mind that it's going to take some time. Picture you have a girlfriend, you move into this house. Picture she starts to argue with you and stress you out about how the house is and all these things that she wants to fix with the house, doesn't give you any resources to do it, just really makes it difficult to be in this house. Now you're starting to sleep where you don't sleep anymore. Now you're starting to get less sleep because of stress. Now you guys are arguing. Now your work quality is going down. Now you don't even know if you even want to work anymore because you're kind of getting more and more depressed. Let me ask you a question. Did the environment change? The person? Or was it the person that came into the environment that affected the other person? Gotta always be mindful about toxic environments, especially as people. We bring people in, man or woman, into our lives, and there's always a level of a toxicity that could lower your level. Keep that in mind. Next one here, limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs. How could your beliefs be limited if your number one goal in life is to be the best version of you that you can be? So if you put a limit on how much you believe in yourself, how can you ever get to the highest levels? That's like hustling backwards. Where I'm from, that's a no-no. We don't do that. So if you don't believe high level living is for you, if you don't believe that you're worth the highest level of everything in life, I'm gonna tell you one thing right now. I'm Beard Money Dad, and you're worth the highest level of living in life. You're worth the highest level of everything in life. The highest level relationship, the highest level job, the highest level family, the highest level of inner peace, the highest level of financial fortitude that you can achieve. You are worth it. You. But if you don't believe, if you limit your beliefs, you're never going to get there. You're never going to get there. And if you have kids, shit, I don't even want to curse on this podcast, but if you have kids and you have a limited belief, guess what? That's going to get passed on to your kids. You're not even giving them a chance. Come on. Come on. We can do better than that. We can do better than that. All right. So just to summarize, barriers to a high level life, high level living, high levels. Barriers. Fear of change, number one. Number two, lack of discipline. Number three, toxic environments. Number four, limiting beliefs. We're going to talk about all of these things in the High Level Podcast with real people from real walks of life. This is going to be so fun. I can't wait. This is gonna be great. All right. So the first steps to level on up. All right. Here's what I want to do. I want to leave. I want to leave you with 3 action steps. 3 action steps to begin operating at a high level or at a higher level than you are right now. Okay? All right. You ready? Number 1. Number 1. Audit your life. Audit your life. Audit it. Audit your life. Be brutally honest about where you're settling at. Be brutally honest about it. Don't sugarcoat it. Don't candy coat it. Don't dumb it down. Be very honest with yourself about where you are settling in life. Okay? Number 2, set high level standards. High level standards. What does the highest version of you look like? Define it. What does the highest level of you look like? And define it. Okay? Number 3, commit to daily excellence. Small action compounds over time, right? What's one thing you can do to level up today? Something small. That's it. That's it. And I'm gonna check back in with you guys on the next episode, just to see where we land with some of those. I want to get a lot of feedback from anybody who was able to actually listen to the high level podcast. All right, so before we wrap up, I wanna challenge you seriously. All right, all right. Let me get my hat right. All right, what my right here? I want to challenge you. I wrote this down. I want to challenge you, and I want you to take 5 minutes. I want you to take 5 minutes today, whatever day you're watching this podcast episode, or you're hearing it from wherever you like to get your podcast from. Okay, so whether you're watching it, and I appreciate you watching it. If you're hearing it, I appreciate you hearing it. This is high level. This is high level. I'm hoping that you get some high level value from this, right? Take 5 minutes today and write down 3 areas of your life where you know you need to elevate. For my elevators, this is going to be very key for the community that we're building over here at High Level, the podcast. Okay? What I want you to do, screenshot your list and tag me on Instagram, Facebook. Am I on Twitter? I gotta check with my producers. But if I'm not on X or Twitter by X, sorry Elon, X, formerly known as Twitter, by episode 3, something happened. So the goal is to make sure that the podcast is everywhere. But again, episode 1 of 1. So please, some grace, people, some grace. We're getting better. We're getting better every second. So yeah, tag me on Instagram, Facebook, or X, formerly known as Twitter, and I'm going to post my handle at, actually, I'm going to post the podcast handle because the podcast is actually going to have its own handle. I'm going to post my handle too in case you guys want anything directly from Beard Money Dad. I got a lot of offerings that I care about and that I'm looking to help and provide assistance and services based on my God-given talent and abilities to all of my constituents, all of my fellow elevators and others who come into our community. I want to see what's the goal? What's the goal of this, right? So, what's the task? Okay. So, a summary of the task. I want you to take 5 minutes today or the day that you see this show. I want you to write down 3 areas of your life where you know you need to elevate. I want you to screenshot your list, tag me on the social media that I'm going to post along with the show in the description of the episode, right? What I want to see, and the goal of this, are what areas you're working on. What are the areas you're working on? Okay? That's what I want to see. And be sure, if you like this high level podcast, high level the podcast, be sure to, well, actually, also, if this episode even resonated with you, I want feedback if this episode resonated with you. I want feedback if this episode was high level, what improvements we can actually add to the episodes, to the show. What do you want to talk about as far as for what is high level and how we can attain the highest levels? And if there's any additional areas that we need to bring to the forefront. If this show resonated with you, of course, please be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who you feel needs the message to elevate to the highest levels. I'm your host, Beard Money Dad. Thank you so much for joining me on episode 1 of 1 on High Level, the podcast with Beard Money Dad. I'll see y'all next time on the other side. Let's elevate.